So, you've saw the title, the most important video you'll ignore today. Ooh. I thought, what can I come up with? Something catchy. And I think that's catchy. But I do believe this is a very important video of what I'm talking about today, the topic today. Now, I'm going to read quickly from my phone because it's just a comment that I received on my last video. So my last video, if you've not saw it, I recommend you watch it. It is a long one, but it's talking about this realm and holodeck, and I had a comment, and I'm going to hide the name because I didn't ask permission, and basically they're saying fiber optics. I'll put it on the screen now. Fiber optics makes me wonder about Wi-Fi. Does it mean wireless fiber? Could an invisible electrically connected stream of energy be considered a wire in any sense? What took the inspiration I took from that was they were talking about Wi-Fi. It might be not the point it was making, but we all see different things, don't we? So when I saw Wi-Fi, I thought, I've talked about us being human Wi-Fi, but I've never really looked into the word, the etymology of Wi-Fi. And this is what this video is. It's going to come as a shock to some, it's going to be wow to others, but it is a very important video that most of you will click past today. That's why I've named it the most important video that you'll ignore today, because certain videos need catchy things, and probably that's my downfall at times, but I just want the content to be enough for people. But hey, that's a catchy title. It may draw some people in who may click past, and the topic I'm going to talk about is Wi-Fi and the things I've found. So this is going to be like a spell etymology special on the word Wi-Fi, but some of the things I've found on it, I'm left scratching my head. I'm like, wow, really? So this is what this is about. So buckle up, guys. You're gonna need it. So let's start at the beginning. What does Wi-Fi mean? Now, in the sense of what I mean, let's start at the beginning. Let's start with what they say the spell Wi-Fi means. So here goes. So, like I just said, let's start in the beginning. Here is the word
Wi-Fi.
And again, the word
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. What do they say it means? Origin, wireless. English, hi-fi. Wi-Fi. Wireless, fidelity. Now, we'll get into what fidelity means in a sec. I'm just want to go over what they basically say. So 1990s from wireless plus an apparently arbitrary second element after hi-fi, sometimes incorrectly interpreted as a shortening of wireless fidelity. So they're basically saying people think it means wireless fidelity. It doesn't. So I've just gone on a generic site, any articles that I could find that could, you could see clearly at home, and I've chose this one now. So here we go. Here's why it's called Wi-Fi, the origin story. It's all about marketing. That's what they say. So do you have Wi-Fi? What's the Wi-Fi password? The Wi-Fi is so slow right now. 2019, the term Wi-Fi comes up frequently, but do you know what Wi-Fi actually stands for or how it got its name? So HuffPost decided to explore Wi-Fi's origin story. So you may be under the impression that Wi-Fi is short for wireless fidelity. I will be honest, that's what I assumed. But you would be wrong. And it says, don't worry, the US military apparently believed this for a while as well. It turns out Wi-Fi stands for nothing. Bit odd, isn't it? Nothing. Wi-Fi is a registered trademark of the Wi-Fi Alliance. Sounds like something from Star Wars. Formerly known as the Wireless Ethernet Compatibility Alliance. It's worth noting that while many people write Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi is the official spelling. Wi-Fi's alliance founding member Phil Belanger shared the history of the term with Boeing back in 2005. It seems the wireless industry was seeking a user-friendly name to refer to the technology that adhered to standards known as IEEE 802.1. We needed something that was a little catchier than IEEE 802.11b. Direct sequence. He explained the Wi-Fi Alliance hired Interbrand to come up with the ideas, and the brand consultancy proposed 10 names including Wi-Fi, which sounds a lot like hi-fi, aka high fidelity. The only reason that you hear anything about wireless fidelity is some of my colleagues in the group were afraid. They didn't understand branding or marketing. They could not imagine using the name Wi-Fi without having some sort of literal explanation. Belanga continued, so we compromised and agreed to include the tagline, the standard for wireless fidelity, along with the name. This was a mistake and only served to confuse people and dilute the brand. So they're still using the spell, even though they say it doesn't mean it. It doesn't make sense. Oh well, these guys, we don't know anything about it, and it's not supposed to be this, but we'll still use it. It's like, well, don't use it. Belanga also noted that wireless fidelity doesn't even mean anything, but was rather a clumsy attempt to find two words that could go with Wi-Fi. Through the tagline, the standard for wireless fidelity appeared in early communications and swag circa 2000. The Wi-Fi Alliance opted to drop it after a year or so. So we were smart to hire Interbrand to come up with the name and logo. We were dumb to confuse and water down the efforts by adding the meaningless tagline. He included, please help reinforce the good work that we did and forget the tagline. So there you have it. Wi-Fi may have been a play on hi-fi. The name stands for nothing. So they said it still means nothing, and wireless fidelity is not the name, but we're still going to use it anyway because people have got used to it. Or is there something behind it? Is there something behind the name wireless fidelity? And here is the video that I'm going to talk about that. So guys, I'm like you. When you're either watching content, making your own content, just research in general, just, you know, whiling away the hours, looking at interesting stuff, you always say, hey, doesn't that remind you of this? Doesn't that remind you of that? We all do it. Doesn't mean it's fact, truth, or whatever you want to call it. It's just intriguing how we put things together. So when I'm looking at a router, as you got on screen here, I thought, hey, doesn't the antennas remind you of L11? It's so weird, isn't it? It does, doesn't it? And I thought, wow, it looks like the door. Remember the door post? The door. And I'm like, come on, it couldn't, could it? It couldn't. So I thought, you know what, I'll put it in geometry and see what a router comes up with. And it only comes up with 11. I'm like, is this a sign? Is this just a coincidence? But I've talked about Wi-Fi's before. So then when I was looking into it, and I was looking and I was curious about the new 6G routers, and I put a few images on the screen now of what they look like. I mean, guys, what do you think these look like? And just look at this one. Faster, broader, unstoppable. Look at it with all the antennas. And I'm like, to me, all of these images I'm going to show you are like from games, toys and different things. You get the gist what I'm trying to get at. Do not them images, like I've just showed you, remind you of sacrificial altars? Especially this one. Does it not? Come on. Them routers, some 6G routers, remind you a setup of a sacrificial altar, like the sacrificing something. It's strange, I know. Stretch, I know. But they just look like a bug, like an altar, like a crown. It's so weird that they just reminded me of this. Now, I want to see what you guys think on that. Come on, guys. Them images that I've just showed you that I've put on screen again, do they not remind you of a sacrificial altar? So, here we go, guys. My breakdown of Wi-Fi. Now, what I forgot, which ain't unusual, I did have a little version of Wi-Fi before in an old video talking about humans are Wi-Fi. I'll include that later on, and I'll intersect and I'll tell you it's coming up so you can get your head around it. But there is a lot of different etymologies, or spell etymologies as I say, and I'm gonna go through them all. But just prepare yourself. This is where the ride starts and you're gonna enjoy. So you might be thinking, yeah, we're talking about Wi-Fi. Why in the blue heaven has Paul put truth on? Why is he going there again? Well, you'll soon know when I start reading out, because you're not going to remember everything. And you remember when I talk about the truth, when people on YouTube and various other social media talk about, I am fighting for the truth. We are truth seekers. Truth is not what you think it is. Just look at the spell, the etymology. Middle English, trup, from Old English, trio, triwo, mercy, faith, faithfulness, fidelity. Oh yes. Wi-Fi was supposedly not, it means nothing, but it was connected to high fidelity. So it was Wi-Fi, high fidelity, wireless fidelity. So fidelity is linked with what people think is the truth. That's what you are. You ain't fighting for the truth. That's why it gets so triggered and personal, because just like your religion, politics, it's your faith. So when your faith is attacked, you get triggered. That's why people get so triggered, because it's attacking your faith. Nothing to do with what you believe is true. Faith, faithfulness, fidelity, loyalty, veracity, quality of being true, pledge, covenant, from Germanic abstract noun treawitho, from Proto-European trewas, having or characterized by good faith. That's all it means, good faith. Having faith, having fidelity to think, yeah, this thing could be right. So you can just see when I always say the truth is not what people is, just look at the spell. So truth is linked to fidelity. Now fidelity was Fides, a Roman goddess, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that now coming up here. So I want to join them both together, because I didn't expect what I'll find on Wi-Fi, because I've broken it down a few times, but never like this way. So you can see straight away Wi-Fi, wireless fidelity, and it's linked to the Roman goddess Fides. So who is Fides? Fides was a Roman goddess, the deification of good faith and honesty. Many of the oldest Roman deities were embodiments of high ideals, e.g. Honors Libertas. It was the function of Fides to oversee the moral integrity of the Romans. Closely associated with Jupiter, Fides was honoured with a temple built near his or on Capitoline Hill in 254 BC. Now, shh, don't tell anyone. 254 adds to, yes, you got it, an 11. This number that everything seems to pop up with. Anyway, in symbolic recognition of the secret, inviolable trust between gods and mortals, attendants presented sacrificial offerings to her with covered hands. Now, that's one thing I did not say because I wanted to wait to these. The routers could, I know there's more than one, but do not they, the 6G ones, not look like hands grasping? Hence, in symbolic recognition of her secret, inviolable trust between gods and mortals, attendants presented sacrificial offerings to her with covered hands. In the later Roman period, she was called Fides Publica, public faith, and was considered the guardian of treaties and other state documents, which was placed for safekeeping in her temple. There too the Senate offered covenant, signifying her importance to the state. Interesting, isn't it? So again, truth, when you think you're being a truth seeker, the word truth etymologically is connected to fides. Remember, bona fide.
It's bona fide. He's a suitor.
That was another word used in association with her. And bona fide. Intriguing, isn't it? And then obviously faith and everything is attached to her. So I'll be carrying on because there's a few things, and it's only going to be a short video, but it's going to be packed, guys. It's going to be packed. So we've just mentioned fides, and I want to show you this that I found and I've talked about before on an old video. It's in the Masonic Encyclopedia because they have rituals in regard to fides, handshakes, and that. I'm going to talk through it now. But this brought to me something that just blew me away, and I found something on a couple of sites, but I can't find any more, so I'm not like saying, hey, it's this, but you'll see when we get to it. So in the instruction of the first degree, it is said that our ancient brethren worship deity under the name of fides or fidelity. Now you can understand why. Oh, it means nothing, but let's call it wireless fidelity. But it means nothing, it doesn't mean that. So you can see the point is, if these guys have it from the first degree, why they would have Wi-Fi as fidelity, which was sometimes represented by two right hands joined, and sometimes by two human figures holding each other by the right hands. The deity here referred to was the goddess Fides, to whom Numa first erected temples, and whose priests were covered by a white veil as a symbol of the purity which should characterize fidelity. No victims were slain on her altars, and no offerings made to her except flowers, wine, and incense. Her statues were represented clothed in white mantle, with a key in her hand, I'm not saying nothing, and a dog at her feet. The virtue of fidelity has, however, frequently symbolised in ancient medals by a heart in the open hand, but more usually by two right hands clasped. Horace calls her incorrupta Fides and makes her the sister of justice, while Cicero says that which is religion towards God and piety towards our parents is fidelity towards our fellow man. There was among the Romans another deity called Phidias, who presided over oaths and contracts. Remember signing our birth certificate and different things like this. A very usual form of imprecation or oath being me Dius Phidias, adjured, that is, so help me the god Phidias, no L, and it's a direction of fables. Says that there was an ancient marble at Rome consecrated to the god Phidias, on which we depicted two fingers clasping each other's hand as the representatives of honour and faith, without which there cannot be no fidelity nor truth among men. Freemasonry, borrowing its ideals from the ancient poets, also makes the right hand the symbol of fidelity. So you can see how significant fidelity is. Now, here is the image I want to show you on the screen that I found on a couple of websites. Now, you have to bear with me that I'm not saying nothing, because I just don't know. And the reason I don't know is because I didn't find enough information on it. I don't know if it's an error or they're trying to say something. But so you remember me talking about how Fides had a key in one hand. Who has a key in one hand? Yes, Janos. So this Phidias could be Janos. And the sense of that, Janos is also the goddess initiations and things like this, promises and stuff. So it's very, very similar. But look at this image, and I got it off a website, and you can see, I'll put on the image now, who is that? And they've labelled it Dios, God Phidias. And lo and behold, it's Janos. That blew me away, and I can't find much on it because most of them say there's some known his backstory. Basically, he's held in secrecy. But why is the site getting it? How can the site get it so wrong that they put Phidias' face as Janos? You know what I mean? Phidias and Fides obviously associated with Jupiter, who is father, which Janos is Jupiter. It's just another name, and I've showed you that in other videos how, not from my words, people associating Janos as that, and some people just get brought up in it, and ooh, you're calling this and this. There's no proof. I've showed you evidence. That's all it is. It's just evidence. It's just me showing you other people's opinion that they think. That's why Janos was prayed to first, because he was God of gods. So I just don't know how this person has got it so wrong to put Janos as God Phidias, and that's what made me go because I'm going to show you another clip from an old video where I show you just a phonics of Wi-Fi, and Janos is connected to that also between his other epithet, which is obviously Ptah, father. So this was mad, and I had to show you. So it was just crazy. I'm just like, no way. And that is why when I was showing you the old routers, they look like 11, they look like a door, and in gematria it adds to 11. So maybe there's some connection there, or I'm just stretching and hoping. But when I type in Phidias and a picture of Janos comes back, I'm like, no way, that's got to be an error. But I still have to show you and show you that I'm not quite sure on this one. As always, you know I like to split the words up, and here's a few that I've found. So obviously Wi-Fi gets split up to Y and Fi. So what did I find? Well, there's a few things, and I'll be going back and forwards in this. So be prepared. But I want to read this first one out because although it's not with the word, it mentions it, and it mentions some of the etymology. I'm only going to read up to there because that's the bit is prevalent. So that's why I'm talking about with, obviously, because it contains y or we. So Old English yo, against, opposite, form, towards, by, near, a shortened form related to vidder, from Proto-Germanic withrow, against, source of Old Saxon wither, against, Old Norse vidder, against. So we've seen all that. Dutch vedder, Dutch via, again, Gothic vipera, against, opposite, from pi, y, tero, so with, literally, more apart, suffix from wi, we, separation. So I'll be using different languages because people always say, why come you don't use other languages? It's just what I find. So we'll be mixing it with different languages to what the etymology of Wi-Fi means. So that's why it's a little bit of a mixture today. So they're saying we or y means separation. So that's the first one. So I thought that was interesting, separation. So that is we. Also, wi will mean we, we in etymological. So it's us lot basically. So that's interesting too. But it doesn't beat what I found in this other language. Now, be prepared because this is crazy. So as you can see in Tokarian B, etymology for wi means to frighten. So how crazy is that, guys? That we means to frighten. So when this is why I love just looking at words and seeing what they mean in different languages, and it's crazy. So wi means to frighten. Is it why they're using it? Probably not, but who knows? You just don't know. Remember, everything is a spell. So in this language, wi means to frighten. So that's intriguing. It really blew my mind, that. So we have wi, we, actually meaning we, separation, and to frighten, and a few other little things that don't make sense. So let's go on to phi. Now I'm going to show you a clip from an old video in a minute, because I forgot I did a little bit of Wi-Fi in this. But they say here, phi in Wi-Fi is borrowed from the Latin pi, from ancient Greek phi, pi. So that is really intriguing to me. And also, pi's etymology comes from pata, who I've talked to about being another epithet of Janos. So you've saw a few things on that in this. So that's really intriguing. So it's pi is literally phi. Wow. So another intriguing one I found. I can't remember where I found this now, but I've had it for a few weeks. I just cropped what language it was, so it's easily found. I think it's Spanish, I think, or Esperanto, whatever that form of Spanish is. And phi means, here we go. So you got shameful, immoral, corrupt, dissolute, dirty, and slutty. Wow, wow, wow. So Wi-Fi, we, separation, or to frighten. Now, is it to frighten the dirty, the shameful, the immoral, the corrupt, the slutty, or to separate? Remember what is the internet used for these days? A lot of separation is involved because people are fighting constantly. So there's some intriguing things found just by looking yourself into the word Wi-Fi. Another etymology of phi is fie, meaning disgust or disapproval. And I'm going to go into fee, fi, fo, fum now because it obviously includes the phi, just to show you guys. So I can guarantee some of you, when you saw phi, it said, hey, it's in fee, fi, fo, fum. So I'm just reading it out and showing you what they said the etymology for phi is. It's different to what I've even found. So it's good to have a lot of different information in it. So this says, fee, fi, fo, fum is the first line of historical quatrain, famous for its use in the English classic fairy tale Jack and the Beanstalk. The poem, as given in Joseph Jacob's 1890 rendition, is as follows. Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the bones of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. Well, in Paris, they used to grind the bones down to make the bread. So, origin. The rhyme appears in the 1596 pamphlet, Hugh with You to Saffron Walden, written by Thomas Nash, who mentions that the rhyme was already old and its origins obscure, and they spell it a little bit different. So instead of fee, fi, fo, fum, it's fi, fa, and fum. So fee, fi, fum, just how they spell it. So F-Y, F-A, and fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. In William Shakespeare's play King Lear, in Act 3, Scene 4, the character Edgar is referring to the legend of Childe Roland, exclaims, "Five, fo, and fum, I smell the blood of a British man." The verse in King Lear makes the use of the archaic word F-I-E, fee, fi, used to express disapproval. This word is usually repeated in Shakespeare's work, and King Lear shouts fee, fee, or fi, fi, pa, pa. I'm just running that because obviously we've talked about pata as well. And Antony and Cleopatra, Mark Antony exclaims, "Oh, fee, fi, or fee, fee, fee," whatever way you want to pronounce it. The earliest known printed version was of Jack the Giant Killer tale that appears in History of Jack and the Giants, 1711, and this and later versions found in other books include renditions of the poem recited by the giant Thunderdell. So there's two different types here. Fee, fa, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman, be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. And then in the other version it's fee, fi, fo, fum. So it's intriguing. So we get down to a little bit further, and it says Charles Mackay proposes in the Gaelic etymology of the languages of Western Europe that the seemingly meaningless string of syllables fee, fi, fo, fum is actually a coherent phrase of ancient Gaelic, and that the complete quatrain covertly expresses the Celts' cultural destination of the invading Angles and Saxons. So there goes far from faik, far, behold or see. Fe from fada or feeder, fie meaning food, and fi, which obviously we're interested in, from fio or fio, good to eat, and fo from foch, sufficient, and fum meaning hunger. So the fee, fi, fo, fum becomes behold food, good to eat, sufficient for my hunger. So you can see a nice little difference there, but I was specifically reading out to show you that it means good to eat. Hopefully you got that. So guys, what you're going to see now is an old clip, a very short clip of when I did a video talking about human Wi-Fi, us being Wi-Fi via us viruses passed on from each other to each other. Now in this, and this is a bit I forgot, but hey, we make that much content, you figure I did a brief Wi-Fi etymology in it. And that was the one where I was talking about Wi-Fi and we and pata as five, because you can see the etymology before. I just forgot I did that until I got going on this video. I'm like, damn, I did make a video on Wi-Fi, us being wireless, but not actually the etymology. So you can see in this video, there's so many different etymologies that I've done so far, and I wanted to include this because there's a few intriguing connections and different things like I always do, so I'm going to include that now. But you have to bear in mind that when I made this, I wasn't talking about being, you know, being in a cave or anything like this. Yes, I was on a different mindset then. Now we're talking about being in like a holodeck type of environment, a simulation of sorts. That, you know, from the last video, that this is what I'm talking about now. So it has changed, my thoughts have changed, because I don't like to restrict myself, and I will always change. I'll always go back, I'll go forward, I'll go sideways. I just keep progressing the more information I get. So this will be a little bit different to me, but it's about a year and a half ago, I think. But you'll enjoy it. It's only a few minutes long, but it does help towards what I'm talking about in the video, the spell etymology. So enjoy. So I wanted to finish by doing the etymology of Wi-Fi before I got to my thoughts. And WI meant we, so that is us, so we're on a good track, aren't we? Then I was looking at FI, and I didn't find too much. And it just dawned on me. It was screaming at me in the face, but when you're researching and doing videos, sometimes you don't see the obvious. Then I remembered old videos and etymology. So guys, Wi-Fi, you're changing it. So it's WI, which is we, and the phi actually is pi, P-H-I, phi. So Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi, as some people call it. So the phi is P-H-I for pi. But this is where the intriguing thing is. A lot of people believe P-H-I, pi, phi actually comes from pata. It's we are pata. Now this is where it blows your mind when you start putting pata involved in regard to our torus field, which I talked about in atmospheric memory and things. So please check out all the old videos. You'll see me leading up to all this. So what I believe I found is how we connect to everything and how they hack the toroidal field and why that is like a router, a transmitter and receiver. Now here's Ptah on screen, and as you can see, Ptah was an important deity in ancient Egypt, credited with creating the world, protecting the royal family and listening to prayers. He was a symbol of creation, and as a creator deity, he was a maker of all living things in the universe. Now I'll break that down for even more for people like me. Ptah's chief attribute was his power to give form to everything. Now we're in a realm where we create as we speak. Ptah is associated with the mouth. I've done many videos on this in the last 4 or 5 weeks, so please check them out in regard to atmospheric memory and, you know, the magic of the spell casting, because Ptah is linked to that. Now he's also connected to creating things. Now if we are Wi-Fi, or a new word that I've created called manify, because we are manifesting using the power of phi, which is Ptah, which is creating form. People talk about manifestation all the time. Well, there you go, guys. I've just shown you what it is, and it blew me away. Now he was associated with fine metalwork and craftsmanship. Ptah symbolized divine rule and was closely linked to the royal family. Ptah was often depicted with 3 symbols. That was a scepter, the ankh, which obviously means life, and the jed pillar, which represents Ptah's creativity, power and stability. That's how he created things. That is what we have in our heads, the pillars, the temples. We also have pineal gland, but also the magic, the spell, the vocal cords that I've talked about so much. So doesn't it sound like creativity, power, stability? It sounds like your Wi-Fi signal. And that is your toroidal field on how you connect and how you perceive this reality. You know, I've been talking about this for so long. Now I know how it connects with Ptah, because he is the god that gives form to everything. So if we're manifesting, and like that new word I'm talking about, manify, we're manifestation using phi, which is we are Ptah. It just makes so much sense. And think about it. We're routers, we're Wi-Fi, and that's how we connect. But, and here's the but, if you look at the jed pillar, everyone talks about it in regard to, you know, the electric world and all this lot. But I've just showed you what it is. But look at this. Look at the jed pillar. And this is just a generic old image from a hieroglyph of the jed pillar. What does it look like to you guys? So I'll give you a few seconds, and I'm excited. You can hear me. I'm so excited. Now guys, look at it. Is that not a bloody Wi-Fi signal? Is it not? And I'll put a Wi-Fi signal at the side and you can see what I'm talking about. It even has near enough the right number of lines that's in the jed pillar, which is in the Wi-Fi signal. Drop the mic, drop the pen. I'm just blown away, guys. So this new word, manify, is how we manifest using the power of Ptah, which is father, which is obviously from one standpoint of view, yes, and it's tied to Janos. So you can see why I'm blown away, and I'll get more into this in regard to what I'm talking about in my thoughts. So although it's a spell etymology type of video, I will have a thought because I've got a lot to talk about, and I want to finish with this after I've just showed you that video from an old video, and I've already showed you about the old style rooters being L11, and that was just intriguing to me. And now we're talking about pi also in regard to pata and that connection, and obviously pi is etymologically like the phi, because that's what I showed you before, and you can easily research it, so I'm not like making anything up on that score account. But if we just move across now, so you just saw the router or router, however you want to call it. As I've already showed you, pi, just like music, they're nigh on identical, and they both resemble the doorway, the gateway. Correct, you can see it. Many Japanese towns and still have the doorways like we used to in ancient days. We used to always have these gateways, doorways at the start of the village, the town. And as you can see, pi and music, it's nigh on identical, both doorways, both gateways. And it just must be a coincidence that when pi is broken down as a fraction, the fraction that they use, and I've talked about this before, is 22/7. Let's just add those numbers. 2 add 2, 4, add 7 is, oh yes, 11. So you can see the connection, 11, which is the doorway, it's the gateway. It's why people see 1111. I've talked about that in old videos. So if you're unsure why I'm talking about this 11 lot, because it's significant to this realm that we live in. We're in basically holodeck 11, and it's so prevalent, the 11. So I want to finish with, I've just been talking about the routers, and as I showed you before, 11, what a coincidence. And guess what? Wi-Fi, again, 11. So this 11 does get about, it's prevalent, it's a doorway. Like I said, when you're doing these false flags and different things, you will find a lot of 11s come to the forefront. It's how they start it off, and you will find it or finish it. You will find a lot of 11s, and I've done a lot of videos on this, but I just find it funny when we're talking about Wi-Fi and pi and everything I've talked about basically in the etymology segment of it, that it's a doorway. What is it a doorway to? Because remember, a door goes both ways. So now I'm going to go on to my thoughts that I don't normally do in the spell etymology, but hopefully you'll enjoy.
Yeah, they call me the black sheep. You know they call me the black sheep.
Hello and welcome. Right guys, like always, I want to say a big thank you to everyone that's liked, shared and subscribed and commented a little bit on the comments. I've noticed more and more lately that when I'm trying to interact with you guys, I click on the comment, it disappears, so I just don't know what's going on. So if anyone's not being replied to, it's because I just can't, and you know, I can't decode, recode and hack and all that, so I'm sorry about that, but I have tried and seen all comments and it's appreciated truly, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. And for anyone that has bought me a bar, which is buy me a coffee, again guys, you get me emotional, and I want to say a big thank you again. So please, if you want to help me in the channel, the link is in the description or the QR code's on the screen here. So let's get to the video. I mind that bite that have been bit on my head. It's not good for when you're bald. It stands out like a lighthouse. What can we do? Long as the mods or whatever was enjoyed it and got his fill. So, what do you make of that? And I don't normally do a spell etymology thoughts, but this intrigued me, and I'm glad I remembered that I did the Wi-Fi video. I'll try and put that in the description. If not, you can go here. It's about a year ago. You can find it with our Wi-Fi humans and all that. I did a rough series looking at different things, and it's easily found if you just take your time and go through the video section, which that helped me a lot in the sense of it gave me an idea. So what started off as something has now changed and snowballed into something else, and it's scary, but ties into the system what we've been talking about lately about, are we in a holodeck type of scenario, a cave, a chamber, and it plays off thoughts. Because remember, manifestation, how many of you at home, yes you, and you, and you. I've thought of something. That person's either rang you instantly that you've never heard of for a long time, or you've thought about something and that thing happens in reality. You know, they talk about it in different types of religion, don't they? And I've talked about in videos how even in series, supernatural series, they put a symbol on and it manifestations, it magnifies, that word I came up with, magnifies anything. So if we are in like a chamber and it uses manifestation as a power, what better way to be little sneaky little devils than having a Wi-Fi router in your home, in your apartment, in your block that can control or hack or add, like mind control type of thing when you're asleep. Because I tell a lot of people, listen, when you're asleep, turn off your Wi-Fi. Think about it, because the odd time I've not turned off when I forgot, when I've been ploughed with what I do normally, and sometimes you do forget. I've never slept. I don't sleep right. So what is happening with that router, that Wi-Fi? What's it doing to you when you're asleep? We talk about electromagnetic frequencies. We've talked about voice to skull technology. All this. Think about it. You're asleep. And if the internet is sending information to your router, your IP address, which is, you know, another name I call ourselves, because at birth you get a birth certificate, that's like your IP address. Are they sending subliminal messaging or thoughts or ideas or just doing nefarious things using your router? Because, you know, that guy, is it Noah something from the WIFI or something that talks about humans are easily hackable now? And I did include that in that other video. So it gets me thinking a little bit different than the spell etymology. It's a doorway, it's a gateway. And like a doorway, they go both ways. So if you've got a doorway, basically in your home, giving a signal out, and I've briefly written this down. It's not really technical, but it's just an idea. Like your computer has a wireless adapter inside it. And that basically translates the data, the dat, which you are, and that is 11 in the set of 4, remember, and transmits it to you to router. Then your wireless router then basically records and receives the signal and decodes it, and then it sends it down the router, down to the internet, you know, the information. So if it can do both ways, and we talk about us being computers, and we're in a holographic or holodeck. Now these are whole huge what ifs and sounds bloody crazy and cuckoo. But when I'm talking about these things, I'm just theorizing. I'm talking to you, sat at home, bus, whatever you are on your journeys or doing. I'm just talking to you one-on-one, like a friend. And, you know, we just talk shit all the time. And I'm just theorizing. I'm thinking about all that information. I mean, just look at the old etymology that I used before. It did talk about pi coming from pata and pi. So pata creates form. So, and that's connected to the Wi-Fi and pi. So are they, like I said, they recording the information and sending it to us subliminally? Because like I've said, the other day I've not turned the Wi-Fi off and not slept, and I feel weird as shit. What can they send? Because it's, you know, it's strange. And remember, smart doesn't, it means nasty, and if I remember, in harmful, it doesn't mean clever. If you look at the etymology, and I've done a video on that in the spell etymology a long time ago, because obviously the rise in smart tech, it's actually painful, hurtful. So are they using the powers of that manifestation? Think about it. You know, when you get them self-help guidebooks and you leave it on a cassette or a disc or whatever you do these days, the kids do these days, you know, or whatever type of apps that you have to, you know, like the cloud and different things, and you can just play things, can't you, on your phone and different things through speakers, Bluetooth speakers. Again, another time perform than this. And you listen to it, and when you're asleep, you're subliminally taking in the information. And, well, couldn't this not be the same type of thing? You're asleep, and the information that is being pumped through your Wi-Fi, if you leave it on, is startling. especially if we're in a realm that we can manifest stuff, and it's been proven. I've thought about things and instantly it's happened, and I know you guys have done it on countless of times. So if we manify things in the manifestation type of thing, and they're corrupting the manify, you know, corrupting the manify, remember man is VIR in Latin for virus. So hence when I was talking about in the old video of we sending out a distress signal and activating the shit in other people's bloodstreams, and, you know, reactivating like a buoy, you know, sending the pulse out, and the beacon gets it, and sets off a virus in you. So, you know, I've talked about it in loads of videos. So it just made me think about this this doorway, this gateway that we have, and what's it doing? What's it controlling? Is it controlling our thoughts? Is it controlling the manifestation powers? Think about it. Sending these signals out, people don't turn the Wi-Fi off, and the power of the manifestation, the manify, is not effective as others. It's like, you know, when you get to the what they call tuning forks, and one's a different frequency, they generally align to each other, don't they? When you so is that type of thing. Send the signal out, dampen our powers that we have. And it sounds funny when we talk like this, but the other day I've forgot about the Wi-Fi because it's been ploughed under. I've not slept. I feel weird as shit. The dreams I've had have been weird. Again, what is this doing? It's a gateway, it's a doorway, it's an L11. Just makes you think, doesn't it? Especially when it's sending the data, which, you know, that meme about the data around the circuit board is us that. So when I originally did this video, in that Petard video, the Wi-Fi, are we human Wi-Fi? I just basically did we are Petard. We manifest, we have the power to create, which we do. And again, are these routers doing something to them powers? And that's just, it just blew me away. So then when we go back to the spell etymology of me doing it again and finding a little bit more and using different languages, and again people say, oh well, it's not that. You're probably right. But what if it's a power of spells? This realm is magic. And if Wi-Fi, it's not wireless fidelity, guys, but because everyone's been using that, we'll just go along. Red flag to me. They're trying too hard. We'll change it then. Tell people, make statements. If you've been brought in to create a logo and basically what it means, and then something comes along and changes it, why are they changing it? Tell them. Oh no, we'll leave it now. We may as well. Doesn't sit right. And it means nothing. So you guys have been paid big bucks to come up with Wi-Fi, but it means nothing. You know, it's like, really? Really? So we, W-I, means we. It can be a form of that. Also means separation. Again, that is a talk of what Petard and manifestation are. They separating us from a reality to all the creation, all these powers that we have to create. To frighten. It just blew me away. And then the phi is also pi, but also another form in another language. Shameful, immoral, corrupt, dirty, and dissolute and slutty. Also can be disgust or disappointed, or fi can become fe, and which is iron. So I want to know when we're doing things like this, guys. Just double checking I've got all the notes. Remember the simulation meant a model or a mock-up for purposes of experiment or training. So think about it. Are they doing training programs on us using the routers? You have all the other tech, voice to skull technology, and you know we are miraculous. And think about it, how could they affect us in a daily basis? It's like we go outdoors and we're bombarded with EMF radio waves, or different types of waves, and if we could see them in that spectrum, what is it doing to us? Is it dampening down these powers? Because think about it, if you knew you could manifest anything, and your power levels, you were like a wand using the spells and the vocal cords, the voice of God, we could do miraculous things, miracle things, beautiful things. But if you can change and control and divide people using the door, which is in everyone's room, think about it. People fight. I only in the last video and other videos talk about the mental health aspect. People are cursing people on a daily basis on the interwebs, and because they're not seeing him face to face, they forget about it. Do you know what I mean? We have to stick together and just agree to disagree on certain things. We're unique. We have a different palette. We have a different taste. We see things, realm, differently. It's all got to do with the information. But they are corrupting, the Elites are corrupting the realm that we're in. The holodeck, the realm of El-Evan. And if you could use our gifts for the better, they don't want that. They want to keep us down. You know what I mean? And people getting away to go online. It's basically, we're like a simulation of a simulation. So if you can control people basically with a device in their home, the Wi-Fi, what can they do? I'm talking about this in regard to spell etymology, but there's a lot of smarter people out there who's done this smart tech and looked into it. I mean, look at the word smart. Again, it's on my spell etymology. I've done a lot. People just tend to watch the last video I've done. You should really go back. You can see how I've changed, how I've progressed. Sometimes I have gone back, but I'm still progressing. I'm looking back at old things. And thank you to the person who gave me the inspiration to look at the word Wi-Fi. I know I have done it before in the old video which you saw, but I forgot about it. Again, we forget things easily because we walk through the doors, the doorway effect, but also the doorway that we have in everyone's home. Cable, wireless, internet. And they just basically, it means nothing. But they didn't want to call it 801 or 80222 EE and all that stuff. Well, come on, tell you what, we'll use WI, because it's wireless. And we'll just call it, it's not fidelity like hi-fi, high fidelity. No. But when people started saying it was that, no, we'll not change it now. But if you paid a lot of money, if I pay someone a lot of money to do something and they've not done it and then something else comes in its place, you want to put people, hey, this is what we really meant. Let's get ahead of this. And again, no, it's not that, but we're keeping it. Why fidelity? Fidelity fights faith. Again, truth. Truth does not exist as a word. Look it up. People still to this day, I know, would have liked to a different opinion, but and I find it hard thing to read, but if you type in truth in etymology, you just get what I've showed you in the video. That's why people get triggered, because it's your faith. How many arguments have you had with someone who is religious or political? Because it really affects them, because it's all to do with faith. Anything with faith, you have faith in that is correct. You have faith in that person, and when they let you down, it really, really, really hurts. It breaks your heart, because it's your faith. It's strong, it's powerful. So when people say the truth warriors, they're not the faith warriors. And it's all down to confidence, your confidence, and it's bona fide. So you can see how these things make me go, again, these guys are just my opinions, and sometimes I don't truly, really, really believe in them, because I'm just looking at the information. That's what I love to do. get the information. If I'm looking at a subject, what does that information sell or tell me? And then if I see a pattern, I will, right guys, that's that pattern. It's led to me here, it's led to me there. And this is the story. And that's what I've always done. So when we're looking at Wi-Fi, it means what, well, it didn't mean, I thought it meant wireless fidelity. Fidelity is rectified. And then you saw the link, even the Masons talk about it with the secret handshake. And obviously confidence and fides used to have a white over the secret basically, and that's why they bastardise it and then to take the hands off. And then that got into Fidius, and again that blew me away because Fidius, and I'm talking about what, and then I knew then about Ptah is linked to Janos and Wi-Fi, and they're saying it Fidius again linked with the fides, secrets, contracts and different things, and oaths. Again, oath, a covenant. Covenant is in truth, remember? So you're like, shit, about there is a world full of spells, and that's why I look at the words. Again, they're not how people will look at them, and people will say, no, you got it wrong, and they're right to do that, because we see things how we see things. I see it differently, you see it differently. You're neither right or wrong, and I'm neither right or wrong. And this just gets me into like now we're on to, you know, I think some countries have been on the 6G and the Wi-Fi 6 type of adapters. And look at some of the routers. They do look like hands. They do look like an offering table. They do look like you know, a sacrificial altar. And again, what is being pushed into them? If we're giving out a Torah field, if we're giving out EMF, do we? I think we do give out a radio wave. Are they hacking us? Are they taking thoughts from us, using the power of us to fuel something? All these are just brilliant ideas on a topic that you smarter people out there will have a better grasp at this than me. I just went to do a spell etymology on the word Wi-Fi and came across some things from different languages talking about separation, to frighten, to shame. You're immoral, you're corrupt, you're dirty, you're slutty, you disgust me, you're disappointed. Why would you use Wi-Fi if you could get etymology? It was like that thing that meant to die, was it? Meta. Is it Meta? I did a video on a long time ago on that meant to die. So why would you use things like that? You know, surely they hire people. Again, they hire people to look into these things. Right, boss, no, we can't use that letter because in that language it means I'm going to chuck your bollocks off. Like, name! We can't do that. We can't use that. Next. No, they leave it. Now, have they left this for a reason? Because of all these talks about frightened to shamed, immoral, disgust. It's like an emotion. Are these controlling our emotions? Because look, just look at the what EMF can do to you. It's a strange world, isn't it? When we start to think of things a little bit different. And this has opened my eyes a bit. And yes, it is a little bit clickbaity, the title. The most important videos you'll click past today or not switch on. See, I even forgot my own title then. I'm just so... I'm just cuckoo at times, me. But yeah, I'm just gonna. I have to look. There you go. I have to remind myself because it was a while since I've done it. The most important video you'll ignore today, because people sometimes just don't go past this. If a title doesn't catch them, doesn't matter what information is there. And I have a lot of good information, really good information, so good that other big channels use it. So please just go back and have a look. You might think it's all bollards, which probably is, but you just gotta have a laugh, enjoy, find weird shit. And this is weird. This is important. We're talking about something that's in everyone's house. Remember that film I, Robot? They had robots in every house. Like the film Kingsman, which I've talked about on the phones. Give everyone free Wi-Fi, free internet. Switch of a button turned them all mental, killing each other. And we've got internet in everyone's home. The beast. And what do people generally do with it? Insulting you, insulting me. You're crap, you're bollocks, you're the shill, you're the gatekeeper, blah, blah, the usual stuff that they do. Yes, there are paid bots out there. But the scary thing is there's people out there who believe all this shit. Believe it's okay to curse you. I don't like something, I'd walk away. These people love to dive in it. They love to swim in the turd pools. And this is what's happening. And it upsets me, gets me emotional, that for someone who thinks they are fighting for the truth, fighting for you, fighting for me, fighting for my kids, fighting for your kids, for making a better world, you can talk to someone and rip their life to shreds and make them want to kill themselves. I hope you're proud of yourself, because when you go to the next stage, you know where you're going. And it's not too late. Ooh, what was that then? Just fly past. It's not too late to be a better person. You know, I feel good when I do a good deed. And I see people's faces. And we live in this world, we're talking about a device. What could it possibly do? We're talking about the transmitters on light fittings, you know, in the street lights. We're talking about 5G, gift of hero that I called it. Where they get planted at kids' places and different things. And it's like, oh, come on, we live in a shithole. It's like you just walking down the street and taking a dump right outside your house. Oh, it's alright, it's a shithole anyway, so what matter? Why does it matter? Why have I got to be the one person standing, shining light and being good? Because you matter. 1 become 2, 11. 2 became 4. 4 become 8. Sometimes people need people to stand up to give them inspiration, like you give me on a daily basis. And we're living in a realm where they can do anything and manipulate us. And we have the power to magnify things. Living in a holodeck that seems to feed off us. It seems to, whatever we think, gives us it. Why would you, as an Elite, need to control that? To create division, you create the internet, which was only created supposedly for science and sending data to each other and research, and it ended up becoming what it has become today, a fucking shithole. But this shithole helped me find good people like yourselves that I would have never met. But if we just turn our cheek and say let someone else do it, what does that? I can do my bit by having a platform, telling people to do one good deed and tell them to do a good deed. You know, and this happens because what is that device doing? Is that affecting our emotions, our anger? Is it amplifying it? Is it hacking us? Think about it. Would you Wi-Fi or internet in your home? There's all the other EMFs. They took the lead out the paint. You go out, you got 5G everywhere, 6G or whatever, wherever you live, and every other transmittable device that's pointed at you to corrupt you. Then we have portable Wi-Fi. You are hackable. And like I put in that other video, virus means via us, but also VIR means man. Hence why I've put it in manify. And I always talk about, for instance, in the food and all the nanotech that's sprayed around, and you're breathing it in, you're eating it. It's like an IED. So then when that gets pressed by a signal through someone else's transmitting, and you get this virus. And I know people talk about the different things, but that's just how I explain things to me. And if, like emotions, like I've been talking, connected to the weather, but also this reality, how you get put into a bad mood. Let's put people into a good mood. Let's show the love. Because I'd rather have a laugh and live in a world like that than what we're living in now. Because people are just turning blind eyes to the shit that goes on. And it's hard to stand up. I stood up. I've gone alone. It's affected my channel. I'm seeing channels around me getting thousands and thousands and thousands of subs. I think I've had 100 in a year. Is my stuff that crap? Yeah. Cut that. Edit that, Paul. You know, so everything is there to play on us and divide us. And it all ties into this. Wi-Fi. Separation. To frighten. Pi. All the 11s that we're saying. Shameful. Immoral. Corrupt. Is it corrupting us? So these things you just have to ask, and I'm blown away, and I do believe it is the most important video that people will basically scroll past, and that's why I did the title, because it's important. We have one in your home, you have one where you work, you have mobile hotspots in your cars, it's everywhere. So you tell me, and we're easily hackable, what is it doing? Is it for our benefit? A little bit, because I meet brilliant people like you, but there's more downsides, and that's why I came off a lot of social media. It was affecting me, you know, and I've come off it, and it's like I've had a weight lifted off my shoulders. But then again, I miss you guys, I miss interacting, but it's a price I've got to pay, because like I said, it doesn't help my channel either. You know, you have to come onto here to watch my stuff. I'm not on any social media, so it's hard. But that's why I need you, for people who can tolerate it, who maybe don't have as much sensitivity to EMF, all these. I'm just all about having a laugh, and I have no time for that. So, you know what I mean, some people are just more thick-skinned. I mean, I'm thick-skinned because I have to deal with a lot, but when I have the spare 10 minutes I'm going on, I don't want to read people telling me to kill myself and things like this. You know what I mean? It's not a nice world. It's people telling me something who I'm not. Fucking freaky weirdos. But unfortunately, that's what this has created. So again, it has created corrupt, dirty, slutty, immoral, shameful people. Again, what's it doing to us? So I find that fascinating, guys, in this video, when we're talking about Wi-Fi. You then put everything together with smart TVs, smartphones, meaning to hurt you. It's just wow, and it is important. So then when you put that together with maybe the we are pata and higher powers of creation, it makes a lot. If they can send us more information and corrupt and control our manifest powers, it's a win for them, isn't it? Plus implant thoughts and God knows what else. So guys, I've really enjoyed this video, even though some of it is quite dark. It's eye-opening to me. Something to think about, to ponder on, food for thought definitely, and to me it is important. So if you do like this, I really do appreciate it if you do pass it around, like, share and subscribe. I'll try and get to the comments. There is a few people that I've not been able to, as soon as I click on it, it seems you're like your shadow banned like me, which doesn't help, so I do apologise. And if you want to help the channel, please just buy me a bar, and the link's in the description. I'll see you next time, guys. Think happy thoughts. Remember that video we did? It just shows you if they can make us unhappy just by putting a frequency up, sends more data, more data, and whatever that is in those packages, those envelopes. So do one good deed a day. Make someone smile. Please, just go make someone smile. I love you guys. Take care. Stay safe. And I'll see you next time. Bye.